What's up, docs and docettes? Trevor Thompson, the self-appointed Looney Tunes critic here, and I'm joined with Golden Age cartoons alum and curator Matt Hunter.
What's up, Doc?
You're wrecking my program.
And we're watching Happy Birthday Bugs, 50 Looney Years, a special that came on in 1990. When I was a kid and when Matthew was very young. I was 12 years old when this was airing. And you and I, Matt, we talked about this the beginning of the year back in January. We were talking about the year of 1990 because for those of you avid Looney Tunes fans out there, you know that right now is the 80th birthday, Bugs' 80th birthday. And so we did a video, Matt and I did a video in January to let you guys know what you could expect for a year of Bugs' birthday celebration because we certainly experienced it back in 1990. And this special was definitely at the height of that promotion that Warner Brothers was doing. Now, Matt, you're 37, right?
Yeah, I'm 36.
36, I do apologize.
So I was born in 84, so I was like 5 when this came out, I think.
Yeah.
You know, I was really young, and I don't really remember it. I mean, I remember seeing it, and I don't think I saw it when it aired. I think I may have rented the tape of it or something, you know, because there was they had these things called Blockbuster back then. You could go and rent a tape.
Hey, there's still Blockbuster, okay? There's a Blockbuster in Alaska.
There's one, yeah.
One. But yeah, oh my goodness, look at Little Richard. He recently passed away. And this is definitely not his best work.
No, but you know, he was great. I saw him probably about, 10 years ago when I lived in Austin.
Oh, really?
And there was this announcement came over the radio that he was going to be given a free impromptu concert at University of Texas. And they literally just announced it like a couple of hours before he played. And I was able to get over there and go see him. And I was like, man, I'm seeing a legend here. He's not going to be around much longer. Well, he had 10 more years in the tank, it turned out. But I'm glad I got to see him. He was great.
Now look at look how different these cartoons look in the quality. You got some that look okay, some that look kind of crap. And this is because this is in 1990, kids. What that means is that we were getting the sources of the cartoons from all different places. Cable and network, and very often cable and had the syndicated packages, which accounts for not just some of the lesser quality, prints, but also, the entirety of people like Bob Clampett's filmography, Tashlin and Tex, and so it was a really weird time, in 1990 to be celebrating Bugs.
Yeah, you'll notice, though, in some of these older clips, they actually show some of the older, like, pre-1948 cartoons, and Warner Brothers would have actually had to pay Turner to use that footage, because they didn't own it at the time. Turner did, all the pre-1948 stuff. So,
and that's when we got the restorations, was when, for the pre-48 stuff, was once they got the library back from Turner.
Yeah. So, because they had all the original elements and stuff, but what Turner had was, old copies. And, because the two companies were separate, they couldn't really collaborate on restoring anything. And once Warner Brothers basically bought out Turner, they were able to go back and do it right.
Now
and they really needed it. Let's
tell everybody what this little production is. First of all, there's Harry Anderson from TV's Night Court, which is an underrated show, I do believe. But this is basically, it's a promotional tool in as much as Warner's was really sailing high on using their, making Bugs a big thing. And so this was probably, one of the bigger items that they spent money on to make the 50th birthday celebration be a real thing. Although they kind of took a cue from a special that they had been done. I think 5 years or 6 years prior was a Looney Tunes 50th anniversary.
Yeah, there were a couple of these, and they're both terrible.
Yeah, I would
they
argue
have
that
not
the
aged well.
I would argue that the original one was better, just in the concept of that it was original. But the original one was actually done by Lorne Michaels, and Broadway Video, his company, and
So poodle hair.
yeah, that's they made fun of her a lot on Tiny Toons, by the way. Mary Hart, I think her name is. But I'm going to play a clip of an interview here because Greg Ford, who we all know and love, Greg Ford, who did some of the animation, did all of the animation, the original animation for this thing. He talks a little bit about the director and the production company that did this, because as you'd imagine, Matt, it was the same company that did the original special without Lorne Michaels.
Dwight Hemian?
Dwight Hemian?
Never heard of him?
I don't think
he was very famous director of Frank Sinatra specials and highly esteemed.
Okay, he directed the special, not the animation. I see what you're saying.
No, but they hover, and then that's how they got the one later of only Dwight Hemian was dead by then. Gary Smith, it was a company that was called Smith Hemian, directed the really, I think, pretty awful, Bugs Bunny Anniversary, whatever it was.
Yeah.
A very pale imitation of the Lorne Michaels one, in my opinion. And that's not even saying that much, Lorne Michaels, but I mean, it was like something, original.
Yeah, I agree. I have to agree with that. It at least the original, the one. The first one had going for it was that it was an original idea. And I think they did the same thing with that Mickey's 60th birthday celebrate. I know they did it, actually. There's stuff with like Carl Reiner's in it. Charles Fleischer does not only Roger Rabbit's voice in it, but he plays like a stagehand, and they're doing this special for the big Mickey's thing, and they use old animation and new animation, and it's the same kind of thing where it's like celebrities talking about the impact that Mickey had and blah blah blah. So they're doing it like the characters exist, but it's still a history of the studio somehow.
Yeah, well, it's Disney did those kind of things too. It's kind of like pretend like the character actually exists,
right.
and there's kind of a thing in this thing where it's Bugs versus Daffy, and I remember the Disney ones. It was always like Mickey and Donald going at it. Like Donald was jealous of Mickey.
I've always wondered if Disney consciously copied that from Warner Brothers.
I don't know.
I don't think Warner Brothers copied it from Disney, though. I honestly don't. I think that was a brainchild of Frizz and Chuck. The thing of making Daffy competitive with Bugs.
Yeah, and then maybe Disney just kind of thought, well, that'll work with TV specials for Mickey and Donald.
See this is Frizz talking about the actual history. But later on, we'll see, people protesting for Daffy and Daffy watching it on TV. So it's this weird blurred line of, the reality and then the fantasy reality. Because we're also going to see some celebrities popping up here in interviews talking about, I remember in the old days when Bugs had a spot at the whatever. And then more stuff of Chuck and Frizz talking about when they drew him. Very
inconsistent
odd.
Would be the word.
Yeah, not very. Now this is where they really were, and this is when people need to know. This is what it was. The
Tiny
whole
Toons,
1990 Bugs thing is like part of it was. Well, don't worry, folks. Not only is there not more Bugs Bunny, but there's also more Looney Tunes. Brand new show, and we're returning to the old ways. And for everybody that was eagerly anticipating the Looney Tunes cartoons on HBO Max, and were disappointed, I'm not among those people. But if you were disappointed and you were anticipating the new cartoons, it's not the first time. Warner Brothers has many times since 1969 promised a return to form, quote unquote, to the old ways.
Yeah,
and this is definitely the propaganda of that.
Bunny right there. That they did promote that one a fair amount. It was a pretty good cartoon.
Oh yeah. Daryl Van Sitters did an amazing job.
Yeah.
Now this stuff is Greg and Terry Lennon with Daffy here saying this stuff.
That's
Yep.
Jeff Bergman doing
Yeah.
Daffy.
One of his first jobs, actually.
Yeah.
Because
oh, man,
Mel,
Phil
Mel
Donahue. Is that guy even still alive? I remember he was all over TV back in the day.
I love Phil Donahue, and in terms of him still being relevant, I mean it's still a little while ago, but look up on YouTube when he goes when he goes on the O'Reilly Factor, Bill O'Reilly, he created Bill O'Reilly and then he hands him his ass. I love it.
he's still around, huh?
Oh yeah, and he's sharp as a tack too. But yeah, this guy standing here looks like Chuck. I've always thought that guy who Phil referred to as Mr. Wiley. He goes, now Mr. Wiley, and then he cuts that guy. I was like, that guy looks a lot like Chuck. That can't be a mistake. That can't be a coincidence.
Joan Rivers.
One of my favorite comedians of all time. Joan Rivers. Rest in peace.
I don't know who all these guys are. They have like funny cartoon like names and stuff. Like they give reference, but
yeah.
Like it's almost like this special. Like they didn't really know exactly what they wanted it to be, so they just kind of throw everything at the wall and see if it sticks.
Sally Jesse Raphael. That's her. I remember her now. Now she's someone I haven't seen her. Now Geraldo is of course still around.
Now, I wonder if he's going to open up a vault and find that there's nothing inside it. You remember all that?
Yes. You're gonna the Warner Brothers. It's gonna be the Warner Brothers perfectly done restorations vault, and then he's gonna open it. It's gonna be empty because there are no perfect restorations.
Wasn't it like Al
mustache.
Capone's speakeasy or something?
Yeah,
like that?
it was Al Capone's vault. And it was a wild goose chase, and he's a wild goose, as opposed to our good friend the wild hare. And by the way, everybody, if you can, this is Rabbit Every Monday. If you can get yourself a copy of Thad's print, it is vastly superior to the actual restoration Warner Brothers did.
I agree.
It's kind of sad, actually. It's really kind of sad. Oh, here he comes. This is before he was 007.
Pierce Brosnan.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think he definitely hadn't played James Bond by this time yet. So he was kind of just a handsome devil of an actor.
Yeah, because that was like the James Bond that he was in was like 5 or 6 years after this.
Right.
That was GoldenEye.
GoldenEye. Oh man, look how good this copy looks. This cartoon is. By the way, that cartoon is going to be restored too, and it's coming out on a Bugs' 50th DVD, probably this month.
Yeah, I hope it does. That one is a great cartoon, and even though it is technically a cheater, but it's a good one. And I don't know why it took them so long to restore that one. That would have been on my short list. The
reason it took so long
is get this out.
Well, it's because it's because the elements don't exist in any kind of good condition when they make restorations, a lot of people don't know this, but when they make the restorations, ideally you want the negative, the film negative, and apparently the negative was well, they did have one, but it was in a real shitty condition, and beyond that I would just be guessing, but my assumption would be, based after the Tex Avery set, they can do restorations based with broadcast tape copies now. So what they'll probably do is get a really good copy on a broadcast dupe and do a restoration from that. Because I don't think they can do it from film.
A secondary film element, like they use a film print as opposed to a negative.
But the thing is that the whole thing with Thad's print of Rabbit Every Monday should teach people that Warner Brothers doesn't give a fuck if a person who they don't know or have any association with has a better print than a restoration. They're not going to go to that person because it's not about the best thing for them. It's about how they can do it the best. They need to make some kind of money, and if they have to pay for a print, that cuts into their profits and, blah, blah, blah. Oh, look who it is. It's Dr. Ruth Westheimer. Oh, the man's penis. When the man's penis get erect, when Porky Pig does not wear pants, it is showing the world that he does not care for you bitches. Nobody remembers Dr. Ruth, but oh my God.
I don't, but I vaguely remember, I remember it her being controversial.
Yeah.
I remember that
She
more
was-
than anything else.
She was this tiny little grandmotherly voiced figure who talked openly about sex and was a sex
yeah,
doctor.
yeah.
She was a sex doctor, and like, you know, and she's very cartoon like, which was why she was in a lot of sketches and SNL bits and things like that. It was very, oh my god, dude, look how different all these prints look and these
Oh, yeah.
cartoons.
These are the old TV copies from the 80s.
Yeah. It's not like that now, man. They all look the same. Oh, Brahms Chinese Theater. Yes.
Protesting Bugs Bunny. Well, I mean, eventually we're going to get there. We protest everything else, so eventually we got to get there.
Let Elmer shoot. Hashtag let Elmer shoot. I'm just kidding. I don't care.
Oh, I'm so tired of that.
I couldn't give a fuck less.
I mean, if they beat that horse anymore, that dead horse, it would be glue. I mean, really.
So it would. I mean, okay. So this we're getting into the next clip that I have of Greg's interview because
About this Daffy stuff.
yeah, Daffy goes to an interview at Spago's. Just the concept is funny. I can see it being funny, but you know, this is very.
Chuck Norris. There we go.
Of course, Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris is. And this is pre-Walker Texas Ranger Chuck, by the way.
Yeah. This is martial arts Chuck Norris.
Yeah. Devil May Hair.
Yeah, Chuck Norris could probably take the Tasmanian Devil. My money's on Chuck on that one.
How dare you?
Boy, that one looks terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Bugs Bunny Rides Again.
Yeah.
Boy, that was. Incidentally, I have a copy of that one that was recorded off a TV back in the 80s that had the original line in it. That Yosemite Sam says, I ain't no namby-pamby, but the original line was, I ain't Mahatma Gandhi.
So, is that what's in the Golden Collection copy? They didn't restore it?
I think they used namby-pamby. I think that was the established, that was the final edit, but a copy does exist.
That
of the other
cartoon.
dialogue.
This cartoon got the restoration, by the way. This one's coming out on the new DVD.
Yeah, this one's on the HBO streaming.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah, if you have HBO, you don't need to buy that DVD, by the way, that Blu-ray, because they're all on HBO. Actually, that's not true. There might be some other ones.
Now, I've always wondered about that reference. I want to know what toothpaste reference they're advertising. I saw a guy do this in a toothpaste ad once. I wonder if that actually happened. It must have.
They do this thing where it's like, talking about having your breath fresh, and they like, ice cold or something like that. But, he pours the water and it freezes. But I forget what toothpaste ad it was.
Yeah. It had to have been something. Oh, yeah, there's Hulk Hogan.
Oh, yeah, brother.
He was like, Hulk
Why,
Hogan
Terry?
was bigger than life back then. He was like extremely popular. I remember he was in movies. He had a TV show for a while. He was a wrestler. Like, Hulk Hogan was everywhere.
Yep.
You couldn't escape him.
I love this cartoon.
For the Crusher, yeah.
No hard feelings, Doc.
He just growls at them. I forgot how funny this cartoon was.
Yeah. Well, Chuck Jones did big, dumb guys really well. Like, he did this guy. He did Nasty Canasta.
Yeah.
He did that construction guy. Like all these big lugs. There's Daffy.
How corny can you get?
I feel like that's actually Greg Ford lamenting in that line of
Probably
dialogue.
is, yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it at all if that was Greg. Just how corny can you get? Hey, maybe you should put that in his dialogue, Greg. You know what? I will. Fuck it. They're not paying me anything. That goddamn Kathleen Helpy Shipley made me do this. Although that's more the case for the Earth Day special, which came out the same year.
Yeah, that sucks too.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't. I disagree. The Bugs Bunny stuff sucks. But when was the last time you actually saw it, my friend? I would thoroughly recommend the Harold Ramis and Martin Short segment, the Muppet segment, the Golden Girls segment, and there's a scene that's like unbroken, a 2-scene. Whoa, what happened? You okay?
Yeah. That was my chair. It makes noise
Oh,
sometimes.
okay, it sounded like a
Careful with that.
loud crash. But there's a Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman scene that's really good in that too. But yeah, it sucks. They don't have any care for the Looney Tunes characters. Look at Milton Berle, Uncle Milty. The great Milton Berle, ladies and gentlemen. That man is a legend in comedy and also a legend in the bathroom because he apparently, in the bedroom, because he was apparently hung like a horse. Robin Williams said that there was a joke going around about Milton that somebody saw him in the showers of I forget which comedy club the where they have all the roasts, the Friars Club, and the comic said, yeah, I saw Milton in the showers of the comedy club naked, and I thought he was with his son.
Yeah, I could have gone my whole life without knowing that, but okay.
Yeah, well, look, this is a channel for grown-ups, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
We need to establish that. Hey, there's some more new animation.
Yeah.
Voiced by Jeff
Mr.
Bergman.
X. Like we don't know who it is.
Yeah.
Don't tell him that, stupid. Tell him
Yep, that's Jeff Bergman's Elmer. Elmer.
Don't say my name, you idiot.
And I have to tell people too, at this time, Warner Brothers, part of the promotion with Jeff Bergman, he was being promoted as the new Mel Blanc. He was being this was before they, by the end of the year, they were like, yeah, no, we're going to hire whoever we need for the job, and that's that, but there was a period in 1990, an extended period in 1990 where, Mel Blanc may be gone, but at least there is another multi-talented person to do all the voices. And that's what they build Jeff Bergman as in a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, and then they decided they didn't want that because they'd have to pay him more money.
Yeah, Warner Brothers.
And so that's why they decided to start kind of splitting them up and having, a couple of different actors for each character.
And a lot of people don't know this, but Warner Brothers absolutely, when I say Warner Brothers, I mean like the post 70s, 80s, 90s, executives, not even 90s, but 70s, 80s, and the early 60s. They resented the fact that Mel kind of got this contract, with the original crew, and he was kind of grandfathered in because once he became famous for being the man of 1,000 voices and all this, it kind of made Warner's. They couldn't get anybody else to do the voice, and they would love to be able to, argue and negotiate with Mel and say, well, maybe you don't get the. But he was Bugs Bunny, and there was no question. He was all the voices, and he was going to do them all. And it wasn't until he died that Warner Brothers was finally free, quote unquote, to be the dickheads that they want to be. And because it's about
with Mel though, you'll notice that even as far back as the 1960s, he would still be the voice of characters he already was a voice of. So when they did Bugs Bunny in a commercial or like a Daffy Duck Speedy cartoon or something like that, he was still that. But the newer cartoons that they made with new characters, those new characters were not Mel Blanc. They got
that's right.
Larry Storch. And I think a couple others. It was just anybody cheaper, because they didn't want to pay Mel all that money.
They did that in the Looney Bugs Bunny movie. There's a couple of new characters in the new animation, and Mel doesn't voice them.
That aren't, there's that dog.
Yeah,
that he's like the dog on the red carpet in that one segment. Yeah.
Satan is not voiced by Mel. And also the lawyer in that whole segment with Rocky, where Bugs is hired as Elegant Mess to find him.
Somebody else for that too.
Yeah, the lawyer. Mm-hmm.
Oh, classic gag.
Yeah, that's a great cartoon. Oh, yeah. Have you noticed that, ladies and gentlemen? We're only laughing when they play the clips of the cartoons, and everything else, and we're just like, ugh.
Because it's the only thing that's funny.
Yeah. Do you remember who this guy is? I don't even know who this guy is.
No, I don't either. I really don't.
Dude, how badly do you want one of those Acme bird seeds? as a fan, just to have on your.
Just to have as a prop.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of fun. Yeah. Acme birdseed. Yeah, I've got some. Yeah. There's actually, you actually around wintertime, it's not as common in Texas because we don't get as much snow and ice. But there's actually a Roadrunner brand ice melt.
Oh, really?
It has the Roadrunner on the bag. Yeah, they pay the license and everything. This is. Did they actually build this set just for this? Like, can you imagine? Like, they actually spent money to build that? Wow.
I mean, to be fair, I can imagine they spent a lot of money. By the way, that is the exact logo right now of the WB that WB is doing now. They went back to that blue and white one that you saw in the background there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the uber religious cult leader Kirk Cameron, back when he was just an actor. So do you not a
very good one, but
do you know who he is?
Vaguely.
So you never.
I remember the name. I remember seeing him.
You didn't grow up with Growing Pains, then?
Oh, I watched it once or twice, but not really. That wasn't one that I regularly watched.
He was a teen heartthrob in the 80s. We all loved him. We all wanted to fuck him. And now, if you don't know who that guy is, I just leave the channel.
Shatner?
Yeah. If you don't know who Shatner is, I'm sorry. I don't have time for you. That's Captain Kirk, kids. That's Captain Kirk. That's, the original Starship Captain. So what are they trying to sell all this shit as now? Like, what's the? Oh, okay. It's just them. Hey, and by the way,
it's a very young John.
Very young and very new to the world of fame. He had been famous for like a year at this point because Roseanne just started like a year or two prior to this.
Yeah.
And do you remember that movie Arachnophobia? One of the most brilliant.
I do.
Martin Mull, by the way, one of the most brilliant comedic minds of all time. Anyone who is interested in real satire needs to look up Fernwood 2 Night, and that's 2 the number 2 NITE. Him and Fred Willard did the fake talk show thing well before anybody else. It's brilliant. Wow, look at that print, dude.
Was that Tommy Lasorda? I think.
Yeah, that was Tommy Lasorda. Yep.
I met him one time. He came and spoke at my high school.
And you chose not to do drugs after that?
I don't think he was talking about that specifically. He was just talking about his career and everything. But wait,
watch this. Wait. That always annoyed the shit out of me. The editing in that is so terrible. They're trying to make it like Tommy is going out and Bugs is going safe, out, safe, and it's so bad. I could do it. I could do it better myself.
Yeah.
Peter, is that Peter McNichol? Yes, it is. 2 wonderful sitcoms by this time. He was in Bosom Buddies with Tom Hanks and Newhart.
Those eyes, those ears.
Oh, what a terrible cartoon. Oh, this one got restored recently too.
Hot Cross Bunny. Yeah, that's a funny one. They actually this cartoon, a Hot Cross Bunny, they used in a Tiny Toons episode. They actually used clips of it.
Yeah.
Little scat dance. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't remember which animation studio did that episode, but they did not do a terrible job of recreating that animation.
Yeah,
I have to say, it wasn't bad.
In the few bits that they did it, because most of the time they just use the clip. Because it's I think it's Buster Bunny watches it in the film vault, and he's like, oh, there's a dance move I can do at the prom, and steals it from him. Oh.
One of the only classic cartoons where Sam is directed by Chuck, or is this Abe Levito?
This is Ken Harris, actually, I think. One of the only cartoons he ever got a director credit on. It was a cheater, so there's only just this little bit is really the only new part of it.
Well, the linking stuff.
Yeah, it's a cheater thing. But yeah, this was Ken Harris did this. But it was Chuck Jones' unit, so it's all the same artists and
Chuck's
designers.
models. Hey, look who it is. Dylan. you ever see Predator?
Yes.
Oh, a great
Yes, I
movie.
did.
He's also in that Adam Sandler movie, Happy Gilmore. He plays the golf coach.
Yeah, that's right. He plays Chubbs.
Yeah,
the guy
Chubbs.
has like one hand because the alligator ate it off. Yeah.
Oh my god. Just ease it in. Just tap it in. Wow.
Are you too good for your home?
That always killed me. That is so. Hey, it's John Lithgow.
It is.
Yeah, back before he was a sitcom star. It was just when he did just when he did movies. Okay, that's the logo I'm talking about right now. That's the one that is showing up on all the YouTube channels and
Yeah,
YouTube
they
now.
brought it back. Yeah.
Going classic.
But
right.
you know, this was like right after they had that kind of weird W, like that 70s logo that was around for a while. That like,
All right,
the
so I need to-
slashes.
Yeah, I need to cut you off because this is the part that Greg directed, so I'm going to let him talk about it here.
I can stand.
I
Okay.
thought it was terrible. I really did. Even though I directed the Bit Daffy was the variety reporter in it, you know,
Right.
as
That was
Spa
cool.
goes.
I'll have you know.
It was okay. I mean, it drove me crazy that they wouldn't let me finish it. They took out gags. And, you know, it was, if you look at them going down the steps, they misregistered the animation. The animation's correct, but their technical guy couldn't get Daffy to land on the steps. I mean, it was really annoying. I mean, they're very full of themselves operation, Smith Hemian, and you know, there are pictures on the wall of them with the Kennedys and shit. It's like, well, gee, I'm glad, but
Take Porky back.
John Kennedy's not going to help you here, you know.
Yeah. I have to look. I wish I could see that if we had like a picture of them in the office with them. But yeah, so there's going to be a shot here where Daffy gets thrown out, so we should keep an eye on the shot where he hits the steps. See how poorly that comes across there.
And he says it doesn't land right.
Yeah, it doesn't register. Meaning,
Now, something I ought to point out too is that clip from "You Ought to Be in Pictures," because that was really the first time we ever saw the greedy, jealous Daffy, and that was not
Yeah.
Chuck Jones. It
Yeah.
was Frizz Freeling.
yeah,
He was the first one to introduce that element to Daffy.
yeah.
So people say, "Oh, you know, Chuck Jones completely changed the character." No, he just played up something that was already there.
Well,
And it
I-
was already there in 1940.
I said that as much, you know, in this commentary. It's not Chuck, it's Chuck and Frizz. And, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's completely their, you know, the only one who went along with it was McKimson, because he kind of went along with everything.
Yeah, but he was in fact one of the last to go along with it too. I mean, he kept Daffy crazy on into the 50s.
That's true.
You know, he
Like-
like Quack Shot. You know, if you've ever seen that one, he's pretty screwy in that one. He was like the salesman in a bunch of cartoons.
Yeah.
You know, he kept Daffy pretty laid back and screwy for a long time before
yeah.
he finally just
Here's where
went
it cut-
all the way.
Here's where he gets thrown out because because the guy orders duck.
Oh boy.
You muckraking journalist! I ought to give you a sock in the snoot.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow. He missed all of them. Oh my God. And here's the thing. I bet if you go frame by frame, they miss the same amount each one, meaning that the registration is off. So if they just got him, put the animation in the right place, it would have hit the steps every time.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Oh, Bill Cosby. That's not going to go over so well now.
Listen, I want to tell you about Bugs Bunny. Now you lie down and drink this.
Bartender, where's mine?
That's Raven Simone
Yep.
before she was so Raven.
Yeah.
But you can tell they're improvising this because it's, you know, it's even though it's not any better than the rest of the stuff in here, it doesn't feel scripted. You can tell he's just like, Bill's just like, no, let me talk to her. We'll just roll camera and
Yeah.
there's Mel. probably tell
It's a
him.
shame he turned out to be such a pervert. He was a very talented actor.
Ooh, Mel?
No, Bill Cosby.
I know.
Yeah, hold it just for a second, Dad. Would you pick up the Bugs line just before that? And it really,
That's really cool that we actually got to see footage of Noel, because for a lot of people don't know this, but like as soon as Noel was an adult, he was basically Mel's, guy. I mean, he recorded with like the engineer and everything like that. Like there would be engineers, but Mel didn't really take direction so much as he said, all right, my son's going to take care of it.
Yeah. Well, and originally I think Mel Blanc wanted Noel to be, his successor, to do the voices after he passed, but I think Noel Blanc was probably the first to say he doesn't have the acting skills that his dad did.
You know what? I don't
He was
know
happy
that
to let
that's
Bergman and some of these other guys take over because he just didn't have it.
I don't know that that's true though, and I'll tell you why. Because he didn't like to take over voices, and he always told people, "Well, I don't do impressions." Like when he got Barney, on Flintstones, they were like, "Well, we're doing a." He originally protested, and he does a different voice for a while too, because they wanted an Art Carney impression, and he was like, "I don't do impressions," and he resisted doing Elmer for the longest time. So I don't know. Maybe that's true, but it could also have been true that he didn't want Noel or anybody. If anyone's going to take him over his legacy, he didn't. Would rather it not be Noel. But then again, maybe he did. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've heard
that's
so many
the story I've heard is that Mel wanted Noel to do it, but Noel just didn't, and was the first to admit that he just didn't do it as well as some of these other guys like Jeff Bergman, why not let Jeff Bergman do it if he sounds more like Mel Blanc than Mel Blanc's son did?
Yeah.
Now Noel did a couple of voices on Tiny Toons.
Yeah.
He did Porky in like very briefly before Bob Bergen came along,
And you can tell.
and then. Yeah, and he did Taz in one of them, too.
I remember in the Roger Rabbit, when Roger Rabbit was still in theaters, CBS did a special called Roger Rabbit and the Secrets of Toontown. And there's a scene where there's an interview where you see Mel in the booth recording the stuff with, the Daffy and the pianos with Donald and everything. And in the interview, he brings up Noel, and he goes, "There's only one person that can do it properly, and that's my son Noel." And they do like 3 or 4 lines back and forth. And I remember being like 8 or 9 years old watching it, and Mel goes, "That's pretty close, don't you think?" And I remember going, "No, I could do better than that." Not to take, I get that you love your son, but no, I could do better than that.
Yeah.
Look at Whoopi.
Back when she had a sense of humor, man, that was a long time ago.
But still not when she had eyebrows.
I can't unsee that now.
No, it was. You can't see them at all because they're not there. There are no eyebrows there, sir.
Hey,
I reposted this, by the way. This is probably the most famous thing from this special is the 50 years of Bugs Bunny in 3.5 minutes video. And I think they put it on one of the.
That's fun. Yeah,
it's on one of the DVDs too.
It is without the special preceding it. Thank God.
Right. There's Bugs with yellow gloves.
Yep.
And then there's the coveted logo, coveted animation.
But yeah, I mean, imagine though, people complain about, the restorations they're doing now aren't as good as they used to be and all that. This is what we had before anybody cared. I mean, this was the best they could do back then.
And for the record, this is the best quality that was available then. Like we got a really nice copy of a VHS. Like someone had a VHS copy and that was in good condition and made a modern transfer of it. Like this is as good as it could have been from that time. So that's like with a grading curve as well.
Yeah. But you have no right to complain really about some of the restorations we're getting now, because back then we didn't have any of it. This was the best there was.
Well, I wouldn't say you don't have no right to complain. I complained about that Hold the Lion Please restoration, which is not very good.
Yeah, well, maybe what I mean is that it's that yes, we have a right to complain if they don't do it right, but it's remember back when they didn't have restorations at all.
It's better to have it's better to have the context of knowing what we have had if you're going to complain.
Yeah,
I suppose.
And yeah, but I mean, this was still, I mean, even with the old copies and stuff, this is still a pretty good little montage.
Yeah.
Probably the best part of the special.
It's, because it's basically everything you wanted to see, which is just, and it is. It's a good reminder of why we love these characters. And
that's the Bugs and Tweety show.
Yeah. Yeah, keep it. How many? My memory is 3, but do you know how many different Looney Tunes Bugs Bunny shows were on at the time for this? I remember
this was in 1990, I guess. I mean, the network one really was ABC, was the Bugs Bunny and Tweety show that you just saw the clip of.
And there was Nickelodeon.
And there was on the Turner channels, of course, you had the pre-48 stuff.
Yeah.
And then there was another package that kind of floated around. Like it was on Fox as Merry Melodies for a while. There was a Merry Melodies show.
But this is 1990. I think that was like 92 or 3 or something, if memory serves.
Okay.
I think that came later.
So really, I think it was ABC, Turner, and Nickelodeon at the time were kind of the only game in town. And there might have been one other. Well, actually, there were like local channels that had syndicated.
That's what I'm saying is that, for a time when content was limited and stuff like that, this stuff was everywhere.
Yeah.
And especially in 1990, because again, they were trying to say Bugs Bunny was here. That's what they were trying to pull off, is let everyone know, he's been here for 50 years and he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
He's going to be here for another 50.
Yeah.
So I guess that's going to do it. This is Chuck, by the way, drawing Bugs. And there's the aforementioned Dwight Hemian. Yeah, it's interesting watching Chuck draw with a Sharpie because he doesn't want to.
No, he used Blackwing pencils. That was
Blackwing 602. Which, by the way, eagle-eyed viewers will note in my reviews, I have 2 Blackwing 602s in the pocket of my jacket. But yeah, everybody, thanks for watching. Matt, thanks for joining us as always.
You're welcome.
And to those of you that didn't enjoy this because of whatever reason, I apologize. But then again, we didn't have much to work with, really, did we?
No, not at all.
That's all. That's all, folks.